So I've decided to start taking iRacing more seriously. You know, buckle down, focus, and finally work on increasing my safety rating.
Well, that's not good enough, not nearly good enough.
Which is exactly why I spent an entire day testing my new handbrake out instead. Priorities. I mean, I could have been grinding safety rating and learning the track like a responsible sim racer. But let's be honest, when you've got a brand new handbrake sitting there begging to be used, what are you going to do? It started as a quick test. Then suddenly, it was 7 hours later, I was halfway through my 257th virtual rally car, and I had somehow convinced myself that I'm now a professional drifter. Honestly, I think I need to dedicate an entire video to drifting at some point, because this, well, it's way too much fun. If you'd like to see that, let me know down in the comments. But anyway, back to the whole not crashing into people thing. We're back, ladies and gentlemen, in this super powerful, perfectly weighted, ground-shaking rocket ship for the Global Master MX-5 Cup. This week's track, Okayama International Circuit, on the short layout. I've never driven it, I'm not even sure I've watched a race here before, but hey, how hard could it be? In that case, I guess learning the track is probably the best bet. Unfortunately, for some reason, my brain refuses to remember layouts. Every lap feels like I'm seeing the track for the first time, turning so late that I might as well be looking for parking instead of taking an apex. Eventually, after many laps, I started getting the hang of it, or at least I wasn't approaching every corner like I just remembered it existed. Although the unstable entry to T2 was still putting me off from pushing it through there with anything more than a feathered touch on the throttle. Alright, now it's qualifying time. This is where I get to show how much I've learned and put down a solid lap. Okay, well, maybe on the second lap then. For most of the qualifying sessions this week, I just couldn't keep all four wheels where they were supposed to be. A little grass here, a slight track cut there. Turns out the fastest laps don't count when you're technically, well, not on the track. So my best times never made it to the leaderboard, and the ones that did, well, let's just say they weren't exactly pole worthy.
I'm fine.
It's race time. Time to stay clean, drive smart, and gain that sweet safety rating. Lights out, immediate T1 carnage. Okay, maybe surviving is going to be the new goal. Survive! After a few chaotic races, I finally get into one that isn't a demolition derby, and my qualifying lap actually counted. Qualified P2, nervous as hell. First time my qualifying laps have actually counted, and somehow I'm near the front. My hope? That starting ahead means I escape the chaos instead of getting speared from behind by the usual T1 madness. Lights out, go. I've got a great launch. First turn, hold your breath. I'm in P1. First time ever leading a race, and better yet, I dodged the carnage behind. This couldn't have started any better. But now comes the hard part. Cold tyres. And this is where I usually screw up in qualifying. I focus on being smooth, roll into the corners, gentle on the brakes, and no stomping on the throttle on the exit. Right at the start of lap 2, P2 and P3 swap places. I was hoping to have built a gap by now, at least enough to keep them out of my slipstream, but nope, not quite there yet. End of the lap, and the pressure is getting to me. I turn in way too late on the final corner, I understeer, and I've got to lift. The guy behind is now glued to my bumper, and we're heading into my least favourite section of track. Fantastic. I do my best to stay composed. Can't shake him. But at least I'm not losing positions. The problem? That last corner. Again, I butchered it. It's the most crucial turn for carrying speed down the long straight, and I'm just handing my opponent 3/10. Mr. Green is charging. I'm expecting a dive up the inside, so I cover it off slightly. Big mistake. I should have pulled back to take the proper racing line, but at this point, I'm just trying not to overthink it. Unfortunately, we end up side by side through the worst corner on the track. I leave him space, plenty of space, but apparently it's not enough. There goes first place, absolutely fuming. The only upside, Mr. White is now between us, giving me a glimmer of hope. Despite my mistakes, we had pulled a solid gap on P4 before the overtake. If Mr. White can just hold up Mr. Green for a lap or two, I might have a shot of reclaiming the lead. But nope. Green's back on my tail in no time. Still, we're both closing in on P1. What was once a comfortable gap is shrinking fast, and suddenly, this isn't just a fight for second anymore. Winning is still on the table. We're closing in. The race leader is right there. This is happening. And then I leave the door open. Green pounces, we go side by side again, and after what happened last time, I'm hesitant to fight for space. I back out slightly, trying to set up a switchback, but instead of nailing it, I slow down way too much. The opportunity's gone. Yes, we're 3/4 of the way through the race now, but I'm still in the fight. I push to stay on Green's tail. If I can stick with him, maybe there's still a chance. But I get too aggressive. I take too much of the curb, I clip the grass, the car twitches violently, nearly spits me into the wall. Somehow I save it, but the damage is done. The gap is way too big now. 4 laps left, but at this point, the race is over. Unless disaster strikes up front, I know I'm bringing the car home in third. No more chances, no more fights. And in the end, I was right. Did I win? No. Did I get a podium? Barely. Did I survive long enough to actually gain safety rating? Somehow, yes. That's progress, right? Even with some questionable but albeit entertaining moments along the way. More importantly, I actually learned a lot. About racecraft, about patience, and about how quickly some people will send you to the shadow realm for simply existing on the same track. This week's track tested me, but I'd like to think I'm making progress. If nothing else, I've mastered the art of self-preservation. From the little experience I've had, at this stage, it seems far more important to learn how to dodge the kamikaze drivers than to be the out-and-out fastest driver on the track. If you enjoyed this, please stick around because I'm only just getting started. The goal is to keep climbing, keep improving, and eventually actually deserve a higher license. Until then, I'll be here, dodging dive bombs, praying my safety rating survives, and yes, still playing with my handbrake. Thank you so much for watching, and a massive shout out to everyone that's liked, commented, and subscribed so far. You're all absolute legends. I'll see you in the next one.